Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hype, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, and welcome back to the Baseball Hype 2. Hope you like this video and hit that subscribe button. We're going to talk about the Yankees and Dodgers and that wonderful World Series that the Yankees played. They lost in 5 games, 4 games to 1 that the Dodgers won. And it's been sort of an amusing thing that happened yesterday and today involving the Dodgers. And the Yankees responded to it. It's from Yahoo Sports. Headline, Dodgers reliever Joe Kelly blasts Yankees as lazy, calling them 8th or 9th best team in MLB postseason. I would agree with that. They weren't the best team. All the best teams were in the National League this year. Quote, it was a mismatch from the get-go, the veteran reliever said. Ain't that the truth? They didn't say this about the Mets, by the way. Days after the Dodgers won the 2024 World Series, reliever Joe Kelly trashed the New York Yankees as an opponent. On the 5-game series, a mismatch from the get-go. On his Baseball Wasn't Boring podcast, Kelly savaged the Yankees, saying they should have been ranked among the bottom quarter of the 12 teams that made the MLB playoffs this year. Quote, if we had a playoff re-ranking, they might be ranked the 8th or 9th best playoff team, Kelly said. You put in the Padres ahead of them, you're putting the Phillies ahead of them. You're putting the Mets ahead of them. You're putting the Braves ahead of them. Well, I don't know about the Braves part. They just got unlucky because they had to play that doubleheader. He continued. The Guardians played like crap, but the Guardians played better defense and better baseball all around. Ain't that the truth? Additionally, Kelly confirmed the Dodgers were extremely confident going into the series because their scouting reports indicated the Yankees would make mistakes defensively when the ball was in play. That's true. I mean, their defense is terrible. Kelly's revelation matches up with what Joel Sherman reported in the New York Post after the Dodgers won Game 5 on Wednesday and clinched their World Series victory. Quote, what the Dodgers told their players in scouting means with the Yankees were talent over fundamentals. That if you run the base with purpose and aggression, the Yankees will self-inflict harm, as was exposed by Betts, Tommy Edman, Freddie Freeman, etc. The value was very hard to put the ball in play to make the Yankees execute. They mentioned that the Yankees were not just the major's worst base running team by every metric, but the difference was vast on the field between them and the Padres, who the Dodgers beat in the NL Divisional Series, but were impressive in this area, he added. I mean, the Yankees played so poorly, in particular in that last game. I mean, they have a 5-run lead and to cough it up like that. Kelly didn't let up on his barrage, calling the Yankees stars lazy, though he didn't single out anyone by name in his scathing criticism. Quote, we go through numerous scouting reports, he said. We pay attention to every single detail. We have a lot of big superstars in our clubhouse, but our superstars also care and aren't lazy and play hard. So that's the difference and the biggest separator. Oh boy. Now, to mention this, Kelly did not pitch for the Dodgers during the postseason due to a shoulder injury. In the regular season, he finished with a 4.78 ERA in 35 appearances, 35 strikeouts in 32 innings. Some fans might point out that the veteran reliever never faced any of the Yankees players he's ripping. But the outcome of the World Series backs up much of what Kelly and the Dodgers scouting asserted. Now we have the general managers meetings in San Antonio. And this is from the New York Post. They asked Brian Cashman, the Yankees general manager, who put this team together, has been running this team since 1998. So he's been the general manager a long time. So this is his team. This is not somebody else's team. He created this team. He built this team. This is what the Post said about it. Brian Cashman pushed back on Joe Kelly's Yankees takedown. Quote, feels a little personal. Okay. Let's see what Brian Cashman had to say. Yankees general manager Brian Cashman has reacted to sharply critical comments made by Dodgers reliever Joe Kelly in the wake of the World Series. At the MLB general managers meetings in San Antonio, Texas on Tuesday, Cashman was asked about the remarks Kelly made on Baseball Isn't Boring podcast in which he compared and contrasted the Dodgers' attention to detail versus the Yankees. Quote, look at the team, look at the talent. We go through numerous scouting reports. I'm sorry, that's Kelly. He tries again. Look at the team, look at the talent. We go through numerous scouting reports. We pay attention to every single detail. We have a lot of big superstars on Clubhouse, but our superstars also care and aren't lazy and play hard. That's the difference and the biggest separator, Kelly said, of the two teams. It's very true. Cashman disagreed with Kelly's premise. Quote, they're the world champions, they get all the credit, but I don't think it's a fair representation at the same time, he said as covered on by SNY. Quote, I think it's more fair to say that we just played poorly in that series and underperformed. I think we underperformed that series more so than somehow the Yankees were lucky to get to the World Series, and how did we even get there? Well, that's true. That actually, you have to wonder how the Yankees got there. They got there because they played such a lousy American League Central. The Dodgers won the World Series in 5 games as the Yankees blew leads in games 1 and 5. Cashman's contention was that the Yankees were a good team, they just didn't play our best when it counted the most. Kelly was not on the Dodgers NLCS or World Series rosters due to injury. Now, the Yankees did not play good teams. Really not great teams. The Royals are a young team. Other than Salvador Perez, they really don't have, and Bobby Wood Jr., they really not that much of a lineup. And to be honest with you, the Guardians weren't much of a matchup for them, even though it seemed like the Guardians were going to win. They weren't going to win that series. I never felt that the Yankees had any kind of worry. They didn't have to worry about these teams in the American League. They were going to play the American League Central teams. And the Yankees always beat the American League Central teams. Unless the Guardians, or what they used to be called the Indians, were stacked, they weren't going to beat them. They were going to beat them. They always beat the Twins except for a couple of years ago. Joe Kelly's just basically saying what the deal is. And not for nothing, the New York Mets took the Dodgers to 6 games. And they played the Dodgers much better than the Yankees did. They had a lot more oomph to them, a lot more energy to them than the Yankees did. The Yankees didn't have any energy against the Dodgers. And the thing is about the Yankees, they were going back and forth with the Orioles down the stretch, but the Orioles kind of just sort of flattened out. They just did their play, just sort of, just really just fizzled. Which was disappointing for somebody like me, because I picked the Orioles to get to the World Series, and they just sort of disappointed your host, to be honest with you. So did the Phillies, by the way, although I was not unhappy that our Mets got there. But I'm just saying that the Yankees really... the American League was not a very good league last year, and we know that the Astros had a down year. They're probably on the other side of their dynasty. The Orioles fizzled out. Seattle collapsed. Toronto did not have a good year. The American League Central wasn't good. The Twins collapsed. They completely struggled down the stretch in the last 2 weeks of the season. There wasn't really much of a challenge for the Yankees. And it showed. Now, the Mets, by the way, I would mention also as well, when the Mets played the Yankees this past year, they swept them 4 games. Twice in a month. Two-game series, and they swept them. So the Mets showed that they were really the best teams this year were in the National League. They put up more of a fight. All the National League teams had fight in them. The Mets had fight in them. The Phillies had fight with them. The Padres had a lot of fight in them. And, of course, the Dodgers. The Yankees didn't have that fight, to be honest with you. Especially when they were not good at taking a punch. The Mets were great at taking a punch. The Dodgers were great at taking a punch. The Padres and when the Phillies to a certain degree. But those teams, didn't make it. And I think all those teams would have beaten the Yankees too, by the way. I think the Phillies would have beaten them. The Mets certainly wouldn't have beaten them. And the Padres would have beaten them. So that's really what you have to ask. Now you're going to say, well, they won the American League, title. Okay. Who they play? Mediocre American League Central teams. Well, let me know what you think about this video. And, of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut 2, and I'll see you later.